How does Lady Gaga eat her sushi? Just a quick disclaimer that I am not a financial advisor, and everything I say in these videos is not financial advice. Rather, it's my personal interpretation and my personal opinion on the things I've read on the internet. What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Tin Invest, where I'm your host, Jimmy Bishrat. Today's breakdown is on a restaurant that hasn't gotten much attention. While everyone's talking about the McDonald's and the Chipotle cult, they seem to be letting one of the most technologically advanced restaurants go completely under the radar. A long time ago, back in 2019, a little old company named Kura Sushi went public via IPO. Now in 2019, I must say, the market looked a lot different. Not only was I paying commission on every trade I made, but this was before the whole SPAC frenzy. Unlike nowadays, there wasn't a new company or a new business going public literally every single day. So in 2019, when this high-tech restaurant went public via IPO, it definitely got me excited. But before buying into it, I had to do a little bit of my own research as well as some hands-on research. And by hands-on, I mean I convinced two of my buddies to go down to a local Kura and test it out for ourselves. And I must say, we were pretty impressed. Overall, the business model is beyond efficient. It allows for self-dining, self-cleaning, and self-payment, which means the business needs minimal employment. And their on-demand meals means that Kura can quickly pump customers in and out. Kura is a revolutionary dining experience. They offer over 140 different Japanese dishes which use premium fresh ingredients. The company serves everything from otoro down to wagyu beef. But what makes Kura special isn't the food necessarily, but more the way the food is being served. The way it works is you're sat table side to a conveyor belt that has little Japanese dishes or little plates of sushi pretty much going by slowly, and you have the immediate ability to just start grabbing plates and eating. This business model is fantastic, especially for Americans, because us Americans tend to typically eat with our eyes, meaning if we see something that looks good, so no matter how full we are, we're probably going to eat it. But let's say if you're at a restaurant and the waitress comes out and says, "Would you like dessert?" After your meal, you're like, "No, I'm good, I'm full." But if you're full and you see this little plate of mochi going by, you're like, I guess I'll grab it for a couple bucks. Why not? I'll have a bite. So it basically allows for more impulse purchases to occur. So that's the dining side of things. But the payment and cleanup process is equally as efficient. After you eat your dish, you literally take the plate and dump it into a built-in bin that automatically tracks how many plates go in, so it knows how much to charge you at the end. But Kura took it one step further. To make the experience even more fun, Kura gives prizes for the more plates that you eat. So for a kid, this is like the coolest thing ever. The more they eat, the cooler the reward's gonna be at the end of it. So not only is this incentivizing the kids to want to eat more, but it's also gonna get them to ask their parents to go back for another fun family dinner. In addition to the kids receiving prizes for eating more, Kura has recently been implementing a rewards program where every $50 spent at a Kura location, you get a free $5 back. So this is again incentivizing you to want to go back and maybe collect points so then you can eventually get that free dinner. As for how much the food costs, it's actually really reasonable. Each plate going down the conveyor belt is about $2.90. Some places are $2.95. It varies depending on the location. But the company also gives you the ability to add like special cuts of fish or certain dishes that may cost a little bit more. But you would think like they'd need a waiter to bring it from the kitchen to you, right? No. The conveyor belt brings it to you directly as well. So the way it works is you have the bottom conveyor belt going by with the dishes that everybody gets to choose from. And then right above it, there's a conveyor belt that can direct it basically, if this table orders a meal, it'll from the kitchen shoot it directly to that table. Or if the table over there will go directly to that person. Thus leaving the need for employment as minimal as possible. So Kura has this amazing concept. Now, how do they grow from here? Well, first you got to realize where they originated. Kura has been around since 1977. They are the pioneers of revolving sushi. Yet you're probably thinking, how have they been around for so long and you've never even heard of them? Well, this is because the company originated in Japan and they recently brought their restaurant concepts to the USA in 2009. You need to realize that when you're buying the Kura stock that's listed on the NASDAQ, you're not buying into the Japan franchise of 400 stores. You're buying Kura's subsidiary company, which is Kura USA. So now let's focus on how Kura USA plans on growing into the future. Currently, their locations are mainly in California and Texas. Those two states account for about 85% of the locations. Yet Kura plans to take advantage of about 290 locations, which they mentioned in their investor report. To grow efficiently, Kura outlined that they need to deliver consistent experiences to consumers and consistent sales growth between new restaurants, as well as heighten their brand awareness. When citing for locations, the company is focused on densely populated areas near highways, universities, or shopping malls. Currently, the size of the restaurants average about 3,200 square feet. But Kura is trying to expand and grow their revenues beyond new physical locations. They want to do this by increasing their sales in alcoholic beverages. And I have a feeling they can do this in a really cool way. If you think about it, the drink of choice when it comes to sushi is typically sake or sake bombs. Now imagine if Kura had the ability to remove the need of having to order a full glass of beer or a full glass of sake in order to get your sake bomb. Like, instead of doing that, they'd be able to offer reasonably priced, individually pre-poured sake bombs that you'd be able to order on command through the little iPad conveyor belt combo. I don't know about you, but I definitely could see how this could become a hit. Now, Kura has not once said that they're going to do this in their investors' relations or whatnot, and if they did, I must have skipped over it. This was just kind of my train of thought on how they can increase their sales in alcoholic beverages. If they can find a way to make it more fun for people or make it more efficient or better, and if it's a good price, imagine if sake bombs, like you can add a sake bomb for $2 or $3. It may seem cheap, but after you're on your 10th one or 5th one or 8th one, it adds up. Lastly, Kura needs to remain focused on constantly improving and updating their menus, meaning when an item isn't selling well, they need to replace it immediately, as well as continue to bring in new seasonal items and dishes. This will keep people excited, coming back, and fans looking forward to see what's next. Now time for part 2 of this video, the financials. I'll start this part by discussing some highlights from the quarter 3 earnings report. And then I'll give you guys an interesting fact that I found on how Kura might be able to offer such consistent pricing. We'll start off by talking about the quarter 3 earnings. These got reported earlier in July. Some of the highlights include Kura's total sales, which went from $2.8 million in quarter 3 of 2020 all the way up to $18.5 million in quarter 3 of this year. But this doesn't mean that the company's profitable just yet. It just means they're less negative. The adjusted net loss for quarter 3 of this year was $4.5 million compared to an adjusted net loss of $10.7 million in quarter 3 of 2020. So it did get better, but it's definitely not great yet. Also, another positive from quarter 3 is they were able to open one new restaurant, thus bringing the count up to 32 US locations. Okay, that's enough about quarter 3. Now I want to get into how in the heck Kura is able to offer high quality, authentic ingredients at such a fair price. It all starts with them making serious relationships with suppliers. The company does business with 2 major suppliers, JFC International, which is a subsidiary company of Kikkoman Corporation. A name you might not know you know, but you definitely know it if you've seen a bottle of soy sauce really at like any sushi restaurant. And then the other supplier is Wismetic Asian Foods, which is a subsidiary of Nishimoto Corporations. Using these suppliers allows Kura USA to bring the traditional Japanese Kura to the United States of America. Now, another question is how Kura is able to offer such consistent pricing at under $3. Well, a big reason for this could be because Kura makes a portion of their purchases annually in bulk at a fixed price. Now, I'm not sure if this is a norm among big restaurants, but I definitely thought it was something I should bring up. Okay, now time for the next part of the video. The competition and threats. For this portion, I'm going to take a deep dive into Kura's competitors, as well as some threats that can obtain to them later in the future. Overall, Kura faces extreme competition from a variety of different restaurants and places. Since Kura is offering quality cuts of fish and premium tasting meals, their competitors can include high-end sushi restaurants. Yet since they also offer a quick, efficient, reasonably priced meal, their competitors now include, let's say, grocery store pre-made sushi, or even takeout sushi restaurants, as well as any other sort of quick eating. But one thing that Kura has over all of these places is their unique dining experience that can really be found nowhere else. As for the threat that I was referring to, I know it's going to sound really obvious, but COVID. If this COVID Delta variant really is that bad and causes for another shutdown, well, Kura can get extremely hurt. And the reason Kura can get hurt more than others is because 85% of their locations come from 2 states. So if Texas and California decide to shut down tomorrow, well, they don't really have many other options in other states. Now, as for the fact of how sanitary Kura's model looks during COVID, well, this can be looked at from 2 different perspectives. The first one is you don't have to talk to a waiter. You can go in there, sit down, eat, dispose of your plates, pay, and get out, all without having to talk to a waiter or a waitress, which definitely seems like a plus in this COVID era. But then again, the other person can argue that your food going around a conveyor belt, passing by different people one after another, just floating around, definitely isn't the most sanitary method. But then again, those people need to realize that Kura has a patented technology to keep their food protected and fresh. And honestly, I believe that this is one of Kura's biggest pros, which is why I saved it for the next part of the video, the pros and cons. At Kura, you can rest assured that your food is always protected. They do this through their patented ventilated sushi lid. The way it works is a plastic cover sits on top of the dish and automatically opens when the guest picks the plate of their choice. The lid also helps the rice from going stale and keeps the meal tasting fresh. Another way Kura guarantees freshness is through their plate tracking technology. I'm sure I wasn't alone when I assumed that one piece of sushi can just get stuck on the conveyor belt all day long and just not get picked. You know what I mean? Imagine just for some reason one plate just didn't get picked. I just assumed that, yeah, you might get unlucky and can eat an old piece of sushi. Well, no, that's not the case. Through their plate tracking technology, all the plates are tracked by a robotic arm in the kitchen, which automatically removes the plates from the revolving conveyor belt. Kura doesn't allow a dish to stay on the belt for over 2 hours, which, by the way, is shorter than local health authorities' recommendations. Okay, so to wrap up this section, I'll tell you guys a fun fact. And that's that Kura takes pride in the way their food tastes. And this is evidenced by the fact that over 100 different variations of rice recipes have been taste tested before they selected the perfect rice for their sushi. Well, that's all I got for you on Kura. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to show me some support by hitting that like button. And if you want to see a breakdown on a company that you own, let me know in the comments below. I'll definitely give it a look. And if you have any suggestions for me or my content, again, let me know in the comments below. By you guys commenting your suggestions, it allows me to know the things that you guys like or don't like. That way I can continue to evolve and better these videos. Well, everyone, that's all I got for you today. Always remember, the time is now.